Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the today's session of Saturday Talk. We have Mr. Seshu Rao Ji today going to speak about the Vastu and how it is effective in day-to-day life and his experiences in the field. A little brief introduction about Seshu Rao Ji. Seshu Rao Ji he began his entrepreneurship journey as a teenager when he started designing speaker for his friends and clients alike. Following which, owing to family commitments, he began handling in the family manufacturing business for nearly 30 years. Before moving, he began consulting as a hobby into Vastu and then professionally for the last 12 years. He believes in the holistic approach to improving people's lives more than traditional Vastu practitioners. Frankly, at the age of 51, he started this professional practicing or a consulting services to Vastu, and since then for last 12 years, after now he is 62 years age, he has been traveled the length and breadth of this country only for this work. He travels almost 25 days in a month for this consulting, and he has traveled even a few times abroad for the same work so far, and his consulting has achieved very good results there. And one of the standout achievement what he's very proud of is that the fact that the 30 children are born to the childless couples after the Vastu changes as per Seshu Rao Ji's consultation they are done. So sir, this is quite a altogether different subject for all of us, and we are very much eager to understand in depth about this.
Okay, so as I told you, I just gravitated to Vastu and I've left 30 years of experience, manufacturing experience, to come into this field. So once I started it and the results started coming, people sort of who hardly knew me, they called me up and said, you should come and have to come and do this job and do that job. Another method why they were calling me is 90% or maybe 95% of the Vastukars, they sort of break down things, they break walls or break this door, relocate it there, and so it produces junk. I don't produce junk. I circumvent the problem. मैं कोई लक्ष्मण रेखा टान देता हूँ. I do something else to mitigate a problem. So they're not scared that his house will be in ruins and he has to start all over again without giving any tangible result on what we started with. So slowly as we grew and my Vidya also grew, I practice, I would say, as per energy or prana. Every house, as soon as you enclose it in 4 chauhaddis, it has some prana. This prana can be decreased by some wrong placements or by some wrong things at the wrong place, right? So what are the main things? Vastu, as per Vastu, is the Panchabhutas. Panchabhutas is the 5 natural elements: Bhumi, Niru, Vayu, Agni, Akash. And these Panchabhutas exist within your body as well as within the house. And since your body is a smaller thing, if there is a disbalance in the body, it cannot possibly disbalance your house. And if there is a disbalance in the house, because it's a greater magnet, it can disbalance you. And the whole basic funda was the north magnetism. Though it is not a few thousand gauss, it's only a few 10 gauss, 15 gauss is the magnetism level, but it affects us. Even a headphone has maybe 2000 gauss of magnetism, actually it disturbs our brain. Our brain is very sensitive. So this magnetism and the dishas are the basis of Vastu Shastra. So the layout of the 5 Panchabhutas within the house as well as the north magnet. So the first thing we attack is we have a compass. In the compass it shows the right degrees. Because I am from an engineering background, so in a diagonal north, the northeast is not in the left-hand corner. If the north is towards the left, so northeast is not towards the left-hand corner. It is somewhere near the center of the house. So this is the first thing people don't say. They take an approximation of the north. ये north है तो यहाँ पे हमने ये बना लिया तो bathroom इधर है. So that is the first mistake. And 90% of the times the architects, they might, even if he knows Vastu, he will design a perfect Vastu flat first, and next he'll become lazy and just make a mirror image of it. So somebody's extreme southeast will be somebody else's northeast. So if the perfectly designed kitchen is in the southeast, the next door neighbor might have a northeast kitchen. What he's basically doing is saving some money of the pipe, which is some minuscule amount compared to the save of the house. But this northeast kitchen is a killer. Cancer is one of the major reasons of a northeast kitchen. Okay, if the kitchen is in the southeast, it's perfectly okay. Now you can see what I have already projected. You can see So cancer being cancer, then lot of medical expenses happen if you have a northeast kitchen. Okay, and if you have the reverse, that means water is here. Suppose you have, so it is fire instead of water. And in southeast, if you have water instead of fire, then the girls of the house, the ladies of the house, they suffer. Sometimes they don't, their marriages get this, pushed back, keep on pushing back. They will be very delayed marriage, or the marriage might not take place at all. She might say, I will not marry. Just the southeast water, southeast water, like आग में पानी फेर दिया तो zero हो गया आग. So there is no fire in the people. So they are less active, and the ladies suffer a lot. Then even divorces happen and they come back home. If somebody has a daughter coming back home after a broken marriage, I'll say he might have a southeast toilet or southeast water body, underground tank in the southeast, which is basically causes a lot of life's problems are due to the vastu of the place. Now, people don't realize how bad northeast toilet is. They'll say, water is there, but toilet is also there. वो लक्ष्मी स्थान है, वो भाग्य स्थान है. So if we are shitting on our भाग्य स्थान, the results we get sometimes, a baby will be born with cerebral palsy or a handicapped child. Now death is preferable to that. Death is preferable. Every time the parent sees that child, he or she will almost die 1,000 times. Why it happened to me? How come other people don't have it? Why only my child is suffering? So because that cause is ensconced in his northeast toilet. Okay, so this science does not have an explanation. They don't. For me, if I see a house, I can tell a lot about the character of the man, about what might happen in his life. But he shows his hand to me, I can say not much. Because I am not a hand reader. I am a house reader. I see what is wrong with his 5 energies. Where are they? So this is one of the major things. You see northwest and southwest is the place of the owner. If somebody else apart from the owner is sleeping there, then he will not listen to the owner. He will try to act as if the owner. Suppose the servant quarter is in the extreme southwest of the house. The servants will never listen to them. So even though he is getting his full money, because he is in the tattva, his place of the Malik, he is sleeping, he will try to act like the Malik. So this is very, very peculiar. But or say in an organized marketing man, if he is in the southwest, he will not move out of his place. Okay, he will sit at the office and try to market. But if he is in the northwest is air, it will make him move. So he will go to the people, visit them, and that's how I have a northwest bedroom. So I am traveling. I would have slept at home and not gone out at all, feeling lazy. कल कर लेंगे, परसों कर लेंगे, ऐसे चला देते, है ना? So this is something which people don't know. The tattvas of the house, they matter. Now, southeast bedroom. Southeast is the place of Agni. So suppose somebody has a southeast bedroom. Lot of Bengalis, they like to have the winds of the south, Dokshine Batas. So they take a southeast bedroom. Now, southeast bedroom will separate the couple because it's a volatile place. Southeast is a volatile place. It will separate, there is a lot of fight. It will separate the couple either by acrimony, that means fighting, disagreements, or by default, husband is at Bombay, wife is posted at Calcutta. So by default, they are separated, or by death. So that is what we want to avoid. Very, very peculiar thing. When I had gone to Guwahati for my friend's daughter's marriage, so one of my friend's sisters, she came to me, she came and told me, my mother told me to meet you. I said, why, what happened? No, I have a lot of trouble. I said, what is the trouble? You look perfectly okay, you're a pretty lady, what's your problem? No, I have lots of, problems. So I said, draw your house. So in the marriage house, we took a sort of a napkin, she drew her house, and when it came to the bedroom, it was a southeast bedroom. He said, you are sleeping here? Well, yes. So he said, why? I said, then you must be fighting with your wife, husband, like cats and dogs. He said, wait, let me call my husband. She called him. See what he's saying? You're fighting like cats and dogs. Well, yes, we do. So I said, you change that room. He said, come tomorrow to my house, early morning. So I went, I moved them to the other bedroom, not the southeast. Their fighting stopped. Due to their fighting, their son had become sort of a recluse and he was destructive. He used to break things. He used to make all the mirrors used to break. Everything used to break. So they had, both are doctors, perfectly educated and all that. But this is their problem. So they had employed two bodyguards to look after him all through when they were not there. 30,000 rupees they used to spend on guarding that child. He was in class 10, he stopped studying. Then after I moved the room and I did something in their house, that boy revived his studies. He became a graduate. And these two are still married. This is almost 10 years, this is at the beginning of my career when one of the marriages I attended. So changing lives is what I consider. It is not, a monetary transaction. It is not that I want so much money and I'll do this for you. No. It is, you call me, I will see what is the problem, I will tackle the problem, and I feel these are the expenses which are needed for increasing the prana or doing this, they will do, and this is my fees. So it is not a transactional thing. So somebody who's been blessed with a child after 11 years, if I say you pay me 5 lakhs, he might pay me, but I don't charge him anything like that. Even an IVF costs 1.5 lakh rupees, and they don't guarantee that the child will be born. You might be impregnated, but the child might not be born. Okay. So after what we do, the child is born, and because what is the problem? They are sleeping in a pranheen jaga. It's a dead zone. So no life can germinate in a dead zone. So if you move the place or you change the dead zone into a pranavanta jaga, means which has having life or life-giving energy, then that fetus is saved, then that child is born. So these doctors also don't realize, what is this thing. It is very peculiar, and there's no medicine for this, or we don't even touch that person whom we are working with. Okay, so we have lots of peculiar cases. It's not that only human beings are affected. I have a very peculiar example which you might relate to, because you all make very big machines or robots. So if a robot is put on the wrong zone, on a dead zone, it will not operate to its full capacity. That means it will give problems which are not diagnosable. Even the sensor is okay, it won't come to the homing position, So I can tell you what happened. One of my friend, he collaborated with a foreign company, and they are into the business of making some stainless steel fabrications meant for dairy products. So they have laser cutting and welding machines. So each machine, they gave 2 machines, each machine costing 6 crores. So one machine worked from day one, the second one never worked. So the foreigner said, you Indians can't make it work, we'll come and make it work. So they came with all the paraphernalia, with all the spares, and they tried heart and soul. The machine would not work. It never worked. So after 15 days, they got fed up of our water and air, and they got an excuse. So they went back. He said, no, we'll come next time and do it. So that machine was lying there idle for almost 3 years when I went to the factory. And then I found that it was on a nodal point of a geopathic stress zone. I will tell you what a geopathic stress zone later on. So I told the electronics engineer there that this is installed in a wrong place. That machine weighs a lot of tons. So, moving it is something out of question. And even the factory could not move, it is, layout is like that. So we put one geopathic stress nullifier in the panel of the machine. And I told them, you clean this machine up, because it has never worked for 4 years. It will have a lot of dust, and then switch on the button, it will work. So the guy laughed at me. He said, are you mad, Mr. Rao? We tried everything. Nothing ever worked. So I told that engineer, boss, I know little bit of electronics, not as much as you do. Can you surely detect a dry solder? You can detect a wrong component or a section which is not working. You can put a signal and trace it with an oscilloscope and find where your signal is interrupted. Can you guarantee to detect a dry solder? He said, no, Mr. Rao. I said, this is such a fault. You listen to me. So next day, he cleaned the machine up of all the dust, and they put the button on, and it worked. It's still working. And the laser, which is capable of cutting ½ inch of stainless steel like water, or even join ½ inch of stainless steel, is working beyond its age. It has got a lifetime of around 30,000, effective lifetime of about 30,000 hours. Now it is well past that. It is work for more than 40,000 hours. is still working as if new. So even they are amazed at what. So the collaborators, they asked them, what did you do? We could not make it work. So they told him, that's an Indian trick which you guys won't know. Since you are giving us all this, bunk about we Indians don't know, so let that remain a secret. So this is a sort of ace up their sleeve. Till this day, the people from Holland, they ask, hey, what did you do to that machine? So the reply is the standard reply, that we Indians made it work, we won't tell you the secret. So this is one very standout example of a machine. See, man, it's get affected by geopathic stress, it's got a certain effect. But a machine being, cured of the stress also works stress free. So on installation, if we can make the place stress free, the whatever machines, they will work better or faster. It's just like putting oil in your, so that the wheels don't get clogged or the gears don't get clogged. So another, I can say there are other example of very peculiar example. I have a brother in Dwarka who's an atheist, total atheist. He's now almost 70. So he doesn't believe in Vastu. So he finds out I go regularly to Delhi and because it's near to the airport, I'll stay over either while going or coming. So one day his wife said, why don't you do Vastu at my place? So my brother was, what Vastu? There's no God, no nothing, there's no Vastu. I said, okay, don't worry. He said, I've got one problem. I said, tell me. And he's on the fifth floor. So, there's one cat which comes and every day shits in front of my house. So for me, I have to clean that shit almost every second day. So I said, okay. Cats use the geopathic stress to navigate. Cat is an indication of a bad energy, but it is not itself the bad thing. It is an indication, okay? So I said, I will put this yantram and God willing, the cat won't come here. So after installation, after a week, I said, what happened? Well, no cat is coming. So today it's almost 8 years. Whenever he sees me, he says, I don't clean cat shit anymore. So that's his oblique way of giving me a compliment that, I've avoided that by de-stressing his house. Now, let me explain to you what is the simplest explanation of geopathic stress. We all know the earth is spinning on its axis. So when it spins, all the liquids and semi-solids are also spinning along with the earth. So they produce a negative energy, which is a spiraling energy, which is manifested in two directions at right angles to each other. Let's assume it is north-south and east-west. So each place, the amount of stress we can, with my instrument, we've got an instrument. I don't know whether I can show. Can you see this instrument? It looks like a bit of a gun. You see it's moving? Yeah, it's like, yeah?
You could see, sir, we could see.
Yeah. Now, this also has something called a reference. This is what the reference looks like. It's like a small bottle.
Okay.
So this has got a hole. This has got a hole. So we insert this inside that. So when I'm looking for a particular energy, I'll change this for reference. So it is like when we are putting a different crystal, the frequency in your circuit changes. So it's like that. So we are changing the thing and looking for different energies with this instrument. Okay, this is known as a universal scanner. Okay, this was invented by one gentleman called Mannem Murthy, Dr. Mannem Murthy in Hyderabad, and he is a ex-nuclear scientist. But the funda is a bit simplistic. It is not really whether he's a nuclear scientist or not, but the funda is it works. You see, it's got a bearing kind of a thing. It moves around. Okay, so even if I look for something, it will sort of give me a sort of a test. And there are two such things. Can you see like this? There are two such things. Okay.
Okay.
So now, if I am looking for say a spirit, then I'll have to change this thing and put a spirit reference. And if I say seek, it will go and show me where the spirit, on its own, it will sort of turn and take me to the place of its existence. So in paranormal activity, they use these kind of instruments, some are different colored also, to detect. Now a lot of people know the detection, I know the nullification also. Suppose you have a spirit, we can nullify. Say spirit is got, even geopathic stress is got a say value of say 2 kg negative. So how do I, because we can't stop the earth from spinning. So what we do, we put a positive balance the other side, which is 4 kg positive. So this negative goes totally nullified and overridden. You understand? How we tackle is we try to say you need it, you got say 2 volts, say volts, and you put 4 volts positive. So it will become 2 volts positive, isn't it? 2 volts negative gets nullified, right? So
Yes,
the
sir.
so since power always travels from higher potential to lower potential, it cannot climb up back. Okay, this
Yes.
is one of the cardinal rules. So we are doing what we are doing when we approach a house. We will check in the middle. Brahmasthana is where our life starts with our mother. Also, it is in the Navi Sthan. It is in the center of the house. Okay, and center of the house is not just exact point like a diagonal. It is 1/3 of your length and 1/3 of your breadth. Okay, this is a size of the Brahmasthana of any. Say if your house is say 30 feet by 20 feet, then your Brahmasthana is 10 feet by 6 and 6.7 something feet, right? Like that. Okay, so there we will know if I am getting 10% energy, 20% energy. When I leave the house, it should show me 200% energy. Okay, so by inserting all whatever we do, right? So this is one way of positive wave. This is not what you would call a positive feedback. You also have a negative feedback, you have a positive feedback. So we take the positive feedback and work around the positivity, right? If I take a negative feedback, in sometimes an astrologer uses a particular stone, he uses the enemy of the planet which is giving you trouble, he will sort of exalt that. So that's a negative feedback. And what we use is a positive feedback. Find out how much prana, insert something which will generate the prana, and equalize it to a level wherein even if you make a mistake, the prana will never go to zero. It will still be above 100%. Okay, we overcompensate. Okay, but we also don't give. Suppose you need 3 instruments to correct a house. We don't give 6. Why? Because excessive medicine is also not good for you. Suppose you need 200 milligram, we don't give 600 milligram. That 400 milligram extra will also sort of be counterproductive. Okay, we need something to be in equilibrium. So we will try to bring it to equilibrium and sort of compensate it. Okay. So this is these problems which are so difficult to even envisage. For me it's like elementary. It is not because I have some specific knowledge. You guys are engineers, you have some specific knowledge, right? So I have some specific knowledge, so I will know more. It is not that I am some kind of a guy from outer planet, I know this, that, give it this to you. Kuch nahi hai. Nothing. I'm a simple man, but it is some specific knowledge, and as you keep sharpening the knife, it gets sharper. So every day उसमें धार लगाते हैं तो कुछ तो extra होगा, and the blessings we get from so many people, they add up. Just like a curse carries for 3 generations, the blessing also carries for 3 generations. So when I get blessings, my son is blessed, maybe his next generation will also be blessed. So this holistic approach, nowadays we think that this is the last money I'm going to see, pehle isko le lo. But if you have the patience, if you have a more giving, the more you give, the more you will get. This principle not explicable, not to scientific and logical guys. They think, no boss, ये तो कुछ गलत बोल रहा है. हाँ, पैसे के पीछे भागो तो पैसा मिलेगा. मतलब पैसे के पीछे मत भागो. I started my life taking 1 rupee for an 1 rupee for an and he used to keep that 4 an for me. Seshu तेरे लिए चवन्नी रख दिया है, तू मेरा वास्तु कर दे. तो मैं 1 रुपया 1.25 रुपया में आदमी का जिंदगी बदलता. हाँ, और बदला भी. किसके बच्चे नहीं हुए, बच्चे हो गए, किसका क्या होना था नहीं हुआ. एक तो बहुत बड़ा प्रमोटर है, उसका आफ्टर आई डिड हिज जॉब, आई से विद इन 1 month of doing his job, he had a benefit of 80 crores. But he did me one favor. For 3 years, he paid me a remuneration of 6 lakhs per annum. Whether I go, I don't go, whether he shows me anything, doesn't show me anything. So he was at least, whatever he gained in interest of 80 crores, he paid me 18 lakhs for 3 years. He gave me some breathing space to become a Vastu Pran. Otherwise, I would have been still, either making transformers or control panels or some system or something, So that changed my life radically. Now, I travel a charmed life, travel on other people's money, get money to do what I love to do. You know, previously I used to hate it. You know, अरे कल delivery देना है यार, फिर सवेरे उठ के भागो, इसको देना, फिर उसको सब दे दिए इतना कष्ट करके, फिर पैसे के लिए वो झुला देगा आपको. He will not pay you your own money which you given him. He'll make you run around like nobody's business. So it is very, very peculiar. Very, very peculiar. So I think
So, can we have some questions, sir? Because
Sure.
I think there are a lot of people who have questions.
I had a monologue of almost about 40 odd minutes. I don't know whether I could talk for 40 minutes without getting interrupted. Tell me, yeah. Please tell me. Any questions, please? Yes.
There may be many questions, but I'll start with by this thing. Since you have traveled abroad, these Vastu logics will it hold good for countries above equator and below equator? Same logic?
Yes.
That is the first question.
It does, yes. Only the stress levels, I'll tell you. The stress levels in Calcutta, I've got a figure of 22. In Rudrapur, it is 60. In Hyderabad, it is 42. In Delhi, it is different. You know, the higher stress level places are more, I should say, prosperous. Dubai is more than 80. You know, the stress level. Very high stress. Very high stress. Then America is also quite high stress. We worked in America. The results have come in America. I'll tell you an American example. One girl, you know, she came, her daughter of 3 years. She could not talk. उसका गला का स्वर नहीं निकलता था. You know, so her mother knew me from Orissa. So, you know, she contacted that girl and that girl contacted me. So, and she was not very happy also in that house. So I said, you know, after I saw the place, and since her throat was being affected of the child, I said, you have a northeast toilet. She's an engineer. So I said, how to know whether or not? I said, you take a compass app, stand in the middle of the building and see towards the left, top left-hand corner, you will have your toilet. He said, yes, uncle, I have that. So this girl, her daughter, she's all right. She goes to school for 3 years. She could not talk. Gala ka swar nahi. So what I did is we corrected that. We changed that. And I said, leave that house. He said, no, I'm already booked for so many months. If I leave it in the middle, I'll have to pay so much fine also. And dollars, it works out a lot. So I sent the correction material and did it. So after doing it, she sort of, that girl started talking a bit. And then I said, try to make her tell Om, and she used to do it. And she's doing, and I also told her, your daughter will be biting her nails. Well, she doesn't keep any nails. It's so small it becomes. So it is just a diagnosis, remote diagnosis. And after that, the girl started talking. And then after a few days, she found a good job. She went off to Canada and she's doing very well there. And the child speaks. Not as fluently because it will take some time. For 3 years, she didn't speak. So these are the type of corrections. It works even remotely. I correct American this one. My own friend, she was not getting a green card for so many years, 12 years. So she had a cut northeast. Northeast kata hua means bhagya kata hua. So what we do, we made her dig a, you know, they had a lawn. So we made that this one in the lawn and put this, you know, copper inside it by extending that periphery of that building. So the northeast cut is nullified plus extending it. What green card she did not get in 12 years, she got it in, I said, you will get it within 45 days. She got it in 30 days. So this has got a physical manifestation कि जो luck जो कटा हुआ था वो luck उसको मिल गया. She got her green card. After that she came to India. She stayed back. Lots of we all enjoyed. She said तू नहीं भेजता तो नहीं होता. It's a very peculiar vidya, you know, very peculiar niche vidya hai.
Sir, I have a second question.
Tell me.
In industries, when you are purchasing open lands,
Yes.
Suppose say it is a 10 acre or 20 acres land,
Yes.
you start in the northeast entrance,
Yes.
right, or north or east,
What else?
and we have a borewell in northeast
Good.
and water tank in southwest.
Good.
So we have to travel all along entire field. We have to travel the water pipeline.
Okay.
Is it a practical one, sir?
See, I'll tell you. Since I am a sort of a semi-engineer, whatever I know by engineering like the back of my hand. See, your basic borewell can be there, right?
Okay.
He did not travel. That borewell can water the fields there. Okay. You can have a second borewell in the northeast of your factory, which is adjacent to your factory. You can have a northeast borewell. Okay. So if you send me the drawing, I can correct it on the drawing. Also, if you send me the drawing and the address, I can tell you that if a spirit is there or if the spirit is there will be a lot of impediments. Okay, a lot of impediments which you cannot. अरे वो म्यूनसिपल का परमिशन नहीं है, वो झुला दिया, वो घूस भी ले रहा है, पैसा भी ले रहा है, लेकिन आपको दे नहीं रहा है, ऐसा ऐसा रुक जाएगा. या while making, this happened with one guy. It's a record time he relocated his factory from in Faridabad. You know, in 4 months' time, his building is up, his factory is relocated. They make the jacks and toolkits for Maruti. Okay.
Okay.
They do a lot of it. They about 350 his people work for it. But he had a small factory because he's an electronics engineer who makes form fill seal machines, FFS. You know.
Okay.
आपका जो ये होता है ना इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कंट्रोल्स है, where the weight is just and the packet is filled, you know.
Yeah.
It's also what they. So he makes that factory he shifted. He bought the plot. I corrected the plot. I said, after I correct this plot, your building will come up fast. Once the building started coming up, I said, you might get the next plot. He got it. He bought the next plot. करते करते उसको 4 floors. He did so fast, unimaginable time, and he relocated. Once it got stopped suddenly, and I was there. Said, uncle, मेरा सारा काम रुक गया. बोला क्यों, क्या हुआ? चलो site पे. So I went to the site. So I saw that there's one structure which looks out of place. I said, in northeast में ये क्या है? ये तो लगता है toilet है. हाँ sir, toilet है ये तो. I called that fellow. I said, कौन toilet इधर लगाने बोला तुमको? तो सारा काम रुक गया इनका. बोला सर इधर ही drain था. हम बोले भैया तुमको सस्ता में पॉइजन मिल रहा है, तुम खा लोगे? हाँ, अभी बंद करो. स्टॉप इट नाउ. वो बाद में करते रहना, उसको सुलभ में जाने दो. यू मेक इट बिहाइंड इन योर नॉर्थ. उसने नॉर्थ ईस्ट में टॉयलेट कर दिया और सारे वर्कर उधर तक, उसके काम पूरी रुक गए. अच्छा, उसके ऑर्डर आने बंद हो गए. तो इन द एग्जिस्टिंग फैक्ट्री आल्सो हैज टू गेट ऑर्डर्स. नो, वी जस्ट मूव दैट टॉयलेट, थ्रू इट आउट, एवरीथिंग बैक टू स्क्वायर वन. टक 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 खड़े हो गए. हाँ, उसको कभी कभी प्रॉब्लम होता है, बोलता अंकल ये है. हम बोला देख उधर क्या है मैन. वो उधर देख बोलते ये है. बोले इसको निकाल. सर वो पेंट शॉप का उधर करने लगा नॉर्थ ईस्ट. तो हटाओ उससे उधर. It's like that. What happens is, if I tell you what not to do, you will suffer less. Okay. You don't know. You involuntary में तुम्हारे junk निकल रहा है, समझे ना? Your sheet metal waste. If you put it in the northeast, your factory with all that modern controls will be stopped for no reason. तो क्या हो रहा है किसी को नहीं पता होगा, समझे ना? So you have to be very careful of your northeast. Sir, I believe, I'll tell you all. I don't know. I believe Vastu is equivalent to the price of salt. Salt. How much part of it is in our cooking? It is such a minuscule part, but it makes such a vast difference. No salt, you can't eat it. Less salt, you don't like it. Extra salt, you don't like it. It's just a balance. That's what I try to put it in equilibrium. I tell people, अरे यार तेरे साइड में जितने रुपए का टाइल तोड़ते हैं ना, टाइल, the what you break, उससे कम में हमारा वास्तु हो जाएगा. And हम तुम्हारा कुछ तोड़ नहीं रहा है. I am trying to make your flow level faster. North east को clean रखेगा, उधर पानी रखेगा, your building will come up faster. Your job will be smoother. That's all. Yes. We tell them, sir, one very SKF company was there, bearings. They make bearings in Bangalore.
Yeah.
And they made a huge new factory. Okay. And once they made, one guy came and said, you got the gate at the wrong place. And SKF stock started piling up. They never had stock. It was, बनने के पहले booked है.
Yes.
So the Germans got shocked. He said, what? Vastu. Then once their stock started piling up, so Vastu को बाप मान लिया. He said, call that guy. He said, instead of this gate, you use this gate. He opened that gate and back to square one. SKF was SKF. And I know somebody used to be a top engineer in that SKF. Well, this has happened in front of me. So I know what this is. I said, boss, we all know because it is in our blood, it is in our genes. But we feel, science doesn't approve of it. Science ने उसमें stamp नहीं मारा, उसीलिए हम नहीं माने. You understand?
Yes.
I don't mind I have an atheist who stays next to my house. Okay, atheist. He's now 65. At age 57, one day he never go to Kalighat temple, which is only 1 kilometer away. Only 1 kilometer away. Okay.
Yes.
So one day he came and says, suppose I pray to Lord Venkateswara, shall I get 1 crore order? I said, boss, you can pray and see. So he prayed. I said, I will give 1 lakh if I get 1 crore order. Okay. We were 4 of us. I said, fine, you do it. Then he told us, okay, from today, if I get 1 crore, I will give 1 lakh. So exactly within 15 days, he got the order. Okay. Then he told, now suppose I don't give. I said, Lord will not come and ask you, give me my 1 lakh, right? But you know, even smugglers who used to get 100 biscuits, they used to put 3 biscuits in a, yellow, this one, cloth and put it in the hundi. Yes. Even smugglers used to believe. And you are a normal guy. Well, no, I'm just joking. So we'll all go together. So he took us to Tirupati. All 4 of us went to Tirupati and he put his 1 lakh. And then after that, he became a believer. Fine. He goes to Lord Venkateswara, comes back. Then one day he says, he's a truthful guy. He comes and says, oh, this time I didn't get the darshan because my flight ticket was approaching. I had to come back. I didn't get darshan. He's a truthful guy. Twice he didn't get darshan, but 6-7 times he got darshan. Then he analyzed. He's a top class computer engineer, all that. So he told me that every time I wanted to go only to the temple, I got darshan. But suppose I went to Shiva Pilla's marriage, from there I went, I did not get darshan. Suppose I'm going to Hyderabad and then I went, I didn't get darshan. When my focus was to go to darshan, I got darshan. So this analytical mind, and in spite of being a Nastic for 57 years, now he's a total convert. And I say, why don't you come with me to Kalighat? He said, no, she's not my deity. My deity is not Venkateswara. So this is a very peculiar thing. Belief, when it germinates, nobody knows. Yes. But if it happens, it's all for the good. Only when the time comes, the event also happens. Very peculiar. And today, actually, he lost his wife. And now, this bhajan and this, belief is what keeps him going. If he didn't have this belief, he would have been a lonely man and frustrated and always worrying about why it happened to me. You understand? Now he gets his Vastu. He got his control room done by me. He said, "यहाँ पे हमेशा हमारा this one खराब हो रहा है. His computers used to fail. So I put one geopathic stress nullifier. Now his computers start failing. Stop failing. Well, now 6 months हो गया अभी तो कुछ नहीं है. It's worked. Otherwise, every third day it used to crash. He used to go and get it. It's the same computer, it's the same place. Nothing changed.